But yeah, so you want to talk about Cook, Henry, Mixon, Najee, all four?
So I want to talk about every running back in the top 20. Dalvin Cook, your RB4 is my RB4.
Okay.
He's finished second, third, and then last year 11th in fantasy points per game. What went wrong last year? A lot of things. The second toughest schedule of any running back, the second worst touchdown luck of any running back. But he was also not healthy. He missed weeks 3 and 5 with an ankle, week 13 with a shoulder, week 16 due to COVID. And so in 9 to 13 games, he hit a snap share of at least 69% in every single one, average of 77%. He averaged 19.2 fantasy points per game. That's RB4. In his other 4 games, all below a snap share of 55%, whether that was due to injuries, blowouts, or something else, but really underperformed 8.8 fantasy points per game. So to me, it just seems like, hey, if he stays healthy, he'll finish as a top 5 running back again. The concerns here are twofold. One, injury history. He does not have a pretty injury history by any stretch. He misses 5 games per season, at least 2 games in each season. The other concern is regime uncertainty. So the Vikings have a new head coach, a new offensive play caller, a new GM. And so this could be a bad thing. Maybe Kevin O'Connell wants Alexander Mattison more heavily involved. He had Gary Kubiak for the 2 of those seasons, an all-time running back whisperer. Maybe the team goes so massively pass heavy, it hurts him in that regard. But it could also be a good thing. By all accounts, O'Connell's going out of his way to pepper him with targets. And I've always thought Cook was extremely underutilized in this regard. As you know, I've seen you, I think, retweet this. He leads all players, tied with Deebo Samuel in yards after the catch per reception since coming into the league. That's not an insignificant stat. That's a very predictive stat. And so I think that could do wonders for him. He was underutilized as a pass catcher last season. And so the regime uncertainty scares me. The injury concerns scare me. But the pedigree of this guy who, when he's healthy, is a highest end bell cow. I feel good. I feel good about him as RB4. I think he's RB5 by ADP.
Yeah, I definitely share the injury concerns after he's missed 2 games in every season, but that's really it for me. Yeah, of course, there's uncertainty with the regime change, but as you mentioned, the big point you hinted at the end there was the pass catching increase. And Kevin O'Connell, it's not like he's a lock to be the next Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan after learning under them. But to me, when you look at when those guys have had a back of elite caliber, and I do think Dalvin Cook is up there. Todd Gurley's the closest comparison that comes to mind.
So he didn't have Todd Gurley. He was with Washington when Gurley was with the Rams.
Oh, was he? I thought he was the QB coach over there. And I didn't think
I'll look it up. I'm not sure. I think he was with Washington. But I mean, he was with Washington 2019, Rams OC 2020, 2021. But here's the thing is that, he's still a McVay understudy. And sure, he had a committee with Washington. He had a committee with the Rams. But did he really? Cam Akers was the bell cow down the stretch into the playoffs at the tail end of the 2020 season. And Henderson was the bell cow until his injury. And I don't think Henderson's very good, but he was putting up low-end RB1 numbers and ranked second in snap share. So, I'm bullish. You just have to mention regime uncertainty, muddling things, impacting the projection. But I'm mostly bullish.
Yeah, so that I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to bring this up when we talk Akers at some point in the top 20. John Daigle had a great quote about weekly running back touches in the Rams games when they avoided an in-game injury. Week 1, Henderson 94%. Week 3, Sony 95%. Henderson 83%. Henderson 71. Henderson 90. Henderson 48. That was the one weird one. Henderson 83. Sony 93. Sony 100. Sony 71. Sony 100. Sony 73. So that was pretty good. They had a lead back. They just rode him most of the time. So I'm hoping that's the case. If you got Dalvin Cook, historically, he's kind of been that way. So I'm thinking O'Connell will treat him like a Todd Gurley. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do work in Matheson a little bit. But what would intrigue me by that is that the exact stat you brought up, the yards per reception after the catch that he racks up. Think about all the screens Gurley used to get, moved out to the slot. And they're already saying in camp, that's what's been happening with with Dalvin Cook going out there being more creative. So yeah, maybe the total touches go down a bit. I honestly might not even be the worst thing, but if he gets the 87 to 81 targets that Gurley saw in both those years, right around a 12 to 15% share, I think that's going to unlock 25 to 30 points a game. Just 2 years ago, we were taking Dalvin Cook as the no-brainer behind, Christian McCaffrey. It was 1-2, and then you didn't have to think about it. And now it might be an even better scheme. So I'm all in on him at 4. He actually came out, if you project all my running backs for 16 games, he came out as my number 1 guy. So other than Christian McCaffrey, of course, if he plays all of them. But yeah, I love
weighted opportunity. I talk about this all the time, but targets are worth 2.8 times as much as a carry. Outside of the red zone, it's like 3.9. So do not underrate, Kevin O'Connell lining him up as a wide receiver, making him a focal point of the passing attack. I think that's massive. Yeah, and I think he's a really good receiver.
Absolutely. And he's still going around 9 to 12.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.